Hello everyone and welcome back to My Opinion. And after losing 7 out of their first 8 matches, RCB have put off a tremendous comeback and have qualified for the playoffs. On the 11s of both sides, starting off with the home team, I didn't think there was much of a selection conundrum from RCB's point of view going into this match. Glenn Maxwell was correctly brought back in place of Wu Jax. I thought they could have played Vishak Vijayakumar ahead of Lockie Ferguson and played 3 foreigners, since Lockie Ferguson has bowled well a couple of times, but I feel Vishak Vijayakumar could give at least the same performances that he's been giving, if not better. So I would have played Vishak ahead of Lockie Ferguson, but they went with the overseas fast bowler. And for CSK, I was happy they brought back Mitchell Santner since Moynihan was not available. They brought him back, and as I've said before, their strength is their spin. They've got to look to control the opposition bat innings with their spinners, and so I thought playing Santner, Mahesh Deekshana and Ravindra Jadeja was the correct decision. And playing Ajinkya Rahane, I didn't quite get, as I've said before, if you've got the top 3, they've got their Raj Gaikwad has to open, Darryl Mitchell has to bat at number 3. I didn't understand why they were playing Rahane in the side, starting him, but they did what they did. And Raj Gaikwad won the toss and chose to field first. And then and there, I thought this was a very negative mood just because they were considering the potential threat of rain. When I go back to the final of the previous season, I'll say this again, winning the toss and choosing to bowl first even then was a huge gamble. Gujarat Titans scored 214, and CSK, even though the rain had arrived, it was a game that was affected by rain by quite some bit. They only won in the last 2 deliveries, that too because of some strategical errors, or rather more complication from the opposition. So it was a gamble from CSK even the previous year to bowl first in that final. In this case, I thought it was a negative move just because they thought the rain would arrive, and apart from, in fact, there were no overs lost, so the rain did not really affect the completion of the match whatsoever. The RCB openers walked out of bat, and I thought there was a major tactical blunder from a bowling point of view within the first 3 overs. We all expected to see the left-arm finger spinner introduced early, and there are a few saying that there should have been spin introduced from both ends, which probably would have been the best way to go. In my view, I thought they should have bowled Mitchell Santner within the first 2 overs. If they wanted to give Tushar the first over where he only gave 2 runs, Mitchell Santner should have bowled the second over. Instead, Shardul Thakur for some reason gets brought on to bowl the second. He goes for runs. Tushar Deshpande goes for 13 in the second over, and then it's 31 without loss after 3 going into the rain break after the first over's gone for 2, and that's what gave RCB the momentum. And I thought you've considered the toss decision, and now the incorrect call to bowl Shardul Thakur in the second over. Those decisions set the tone for CSK, unfortunately, to only end up playing catch up throughout this match because of the lapses in strategical calls. And I was very disappointed because Santner opened the bowling against the Punjab Kings. He opened the bowling against the Gujarat Titans. Just because he went for 14 in that 1 over, the captain didn't have faith to bowl him again. Yet Darryl Mitchell bowls 4 overs almost consecutively in that match, and Shardul Thakur's going for runs all around the place, but he's bowling almost consecutive overs towards the end, which didn't make any sense. So once again, the lack of faith in spinners when this has been a franchise with the way that it's been run on the field, that spinners have been entrusted to do their job, and they've done so brilliantly. So I was very disappointed that just because of the 1 over that he had bowled against the Gujarat Titans, they went for 14 the first over, the captain didn't have the confidence to bowl him within the first 2 overs in this case. RCB got to 43 without loss after the first 6, where from being 31 without loss in 3, they could only get 11 runs off the last 3 because the ball was turning square. And I thought, and I'll be digressing a bit here, because I thought the footwork against spin from either side in this match was very poor. We saw when Mitchell Santner was bowling, I don't like criticizing him, but I thought Virat Kohli, he was moving to the leg stump and trying to cut with the turn. I thought it was a huge gamble. He could have got bowled thrice in my view. Santner then bowls at 100 kph delivery straight at the stumps. He goes back to a full ball, and luckily it turns away from the stumps. So the footwork against spin from both sides in this match was very poor, but somehow they got away with it at times. And I thought 43 without loss was a good score after the power play here. I've said before that in Bengaluru and Mumbai, about 45 for 1 is a satisfactory power play for the batting side. Of course, with the one-dimensional view nowadays that you've got to get 60 in the power play, many thought that it wasn't good enough, but I thought 43 without loss after getting 31 in 3. They were allowed to slow down for a bit when the ball was turning off, when the spinners were bowling after the rain break, because they got the momentum in the first 3 overs. The first wicket fell when the score was on 78, and Virat Kohli was dismissed for a well-made 47. I thought this innings was even better because Faf du Plessis, 54 of 39. Watching him bat, was it the most fluent innings? No, it wasn't. Virat Kohli unveiled the slog sweep, especially when he's struggling against Major Santner early on, and that gave RCB some momentum after the power play and kept them on track with the desired innings progression that I've mentioned many times in my videos. And so, when previewing his season, I'd said the 9 times where he bats some more batting-friendly services, he'd get at least 5 half-centuries, and off the top of my head, I think he would have done that. And in the other times, whatever he gets when batting on the slow services is a bonus. He scored an unbeaten 113 in Jaipur. And in this case, when the ball was turning quite a bit, when he should have been bowled by Mitchell Santner thrice in my view, he unveiled the slog sweep, which he has been doing a bit in the previous season against SRH in the century, I remember, but quite often in this season. And I thought it was a very good knock played by him in this match, where he's got 708 games now. I feel with 3 matches to go, he will definitely cross the 800 run mark. So fantastic season from him thus far. And Faf du Plessis, the wicket fell in a fairly controversial manner, where the score was on 113 for 2 after 13 overs. I thought an over bowled after this, close to this point, was what set RCB on their way to get a big score. Where Simranjit Singh, it's seen, I think he got a 3-wicket haul against the Punjab Kings. He bowled in the power play. He then bowled against the Gujarat Titans, but went for 60 odd. He bowled later on the middle overs against the Rajasthan Royals, picked up 3 for 26. In this case, also was bowled later, but the 1 over that he bowled was what set RCB on their way to get a score well over 200. It yielded 19 runs. I thought that was the 1 over that really set a launch pad for them to go further. And I must say, once again, I've alluded to this at the start of the video, but the captaincy in the fielding innings was dreadful. You've got a case where Ravindra Jadeja, yes, he misses lengths a bit, none for 40 in 3 overs when the ball was turning, but would you rather bowl 4 overs of him or bowl 4 overs of Shardul Thakur? And we all knew that it was 1 over 16, I think, the first over that he bowled. We knew he was going to give more runs by the 3 over mark than Jadeja had done. I think he was on 1 for 45 in 2.3 overs. So when it's inevitable that that's what he was going to give, wouldn't you have bowled Jadeja for that 4th over and it would have held you in better stead? He would not have gone for 60 in 4 overs. So it was a terrible bit of captaincy from Ruturaj Gaikwad. And as I said before, he hasn't been trusting his spinners a lot this season, but it was good he played 3 spinners today. But I was very disappointed to see him once again bowl a seamer who's been going for runs, that too consecutively towards the end. And I was very disappointed by that. And on Shardul Thakur, around the 2018 time when they were playing the Nidas Trophy, I remember he was bowling outside the power play, bowling bounces at about 140 kph, and that was his strength. In the last one, especially now, he's in bowling generally about that 135 kph mark, and I still feel he should not be bowling the power play. Being brought on in a 2nd over in this situation where the opposition know they've got to win by a margin, and he goes to 60 runs in this match, even though he's been bowling well in the games preceding this one, bowling the middle overs. I thought it's a very ordinary bit of captaincy. So I feel since that 2018 time, his pace has reduced, especially recently. He's not bowling that sharp bouncer. And with the deliveries he bowled in this match, bowling full tosses every other delivery towards the end, he went for runs. So a poor innings from a bowling point of view from CSK. In the second innings, Maxwell bowls the first over, and unsurprisingly, Raj Gaikwad was dismissed early on the first ball of the innings. Looking at the way the captaincy wins, and he dropped a catch off Cameron Green as well, I didn't think this was going to be a great day for him with a bat, and unsurprisingly, he was dismissed. Darren Mitchell walked out at 3, was also dismissed for 4 off 6. Now, as I said before, where does Ajinkya Rahane fit in this side? He doesn't fit in the side. I think they were 19 for 2. He walked out to bat. It says 33 off 22, and yes, they got to 60 for 2 in the power play, which is good, but was his innings, did it have any kind of impact on this chase when, especially after the power play, there was a bit of a slowdown, and that was what cost the match for CSK in the second innings. So he scored 150 strike rate, yes, 33 off 22, but did it have any kind of an impact, especially in that phase after the power play? No, it didn't. So there was no need for him to play, in my view, as I've been saying. And I expected he played a very nice knock of 61. He was looking good from the get-go, played some classy shots. And even though he hasn't had the greatest seasons in this IPL, I feel he will definitely do well in the ones to come. And this innings was a testament to that. Now on Shivam Dube. For this, I'll be bringing up 3 players, including himself. Dube, Rajat Patidar, and Shreyas Iyer, in my view, is supposed to be that spin hitter, but the role clarity hasn't been defined in the KKR camp, according to me. You got 3 players who should be designated spin hitters, but I feel the difference between, and this isn't only because of what happened in this match, it isn't a criticism, it's an observation. The difference between Patidar, Shreyas Iyer, and Shivam Dube is that the first 2 use their feet to the spinners to hit them as well. Whereas how often have you seen Shivam Dube skip down the track and hit a spinner straight? Where you've seen him hit the spinner straight down the ground while just a minimal foot movement, just putting his foot slightly forward and hitting it with the sheer bat swing. And I felt in this match when Glenn Maxwell, he was giving the ball a bit of air, Dube was purely trying to swing the bat, and because of that he got bogged down since he didn't connect, and that's why we saw the output that we saw. I feel being a spin hitter, if he also gets the trait of using his feet to the spins, with what I've seen in the IPL thus far, even with the success that he's got while playing for CSK, has he once skipped down the track against a spinner? I don't think he has done. You've seen how well Rajat Patidar has been going this season, where his contribution is a definition of impact. Is he in the orange cap race? No, he isn't. But he's got 5 half centuries and a 41 in this match at a strike rate of overall, I think, 172. That is a definition of impact, and he's been taking down the spins. The reason why he's been able to do that is because he's also using his feet against the spins. Shreyas Iyer, I remember a couple of years back, there was a knock he played against the Delhi Capitals. He hit Kuldeep Yadav for 2-6 as well. A lot of the time when he muscles the ball over mid-wicket against a spinner, he doesn't even need to look where the ball would go. When he skips down the track, he swings the bat, and the moment he hits the ball, he knows it's gone. We've seen a lot of the cases where he's hit spinners for 6 in that fashion. So you got 2 players there who've got an advantage because they're able to muscle the ball against the spinners while also using their feet. Right, Shivam Dube, you saw in this match, if you don't connect when you keep swinging the bat from a static position, this is what will happen. So this isn't a criticism, it's just an observation. And if he gets the foot movement into his game, then he'll become an even better spin hitter than he is now. Well, Jadeja and Dhoni were at the crease. You thought the match was still very much there for CSK to win. I thought with 29 off 10 remaining, they needed to get 12 off the next 4 at least, where you could back MS Dhoni and Jadeja to get 17 off Yashdale with the way he'd been building up to that point in this match. And Jadeja hit the 6 off the last ball of the 19th over, meaning 17 off 6 was required. On 110 meter 6 hit by MS Dhoni that went out of the ground. Unfortunately, when a Sluddery was bowled the next ball, he didn't look to go straight. I thought he shoveled it a bit squarer than he would have wanted to hit the ball. And the catch was taken. A very poignant moment because we don't know whether this will be his last season or not. And I think when watching him bat, I think 50 off 18 was required towards the start of his innings. it seemed as if the emotion was weighing him down, even when he was at the non-strikers, and you could tell he really wanted to win the game for his side because he wanted that story to continue for CSK to win the cup. Unfortunately, even though it seemed as if CSK would win the match when 11 off 5 was required, RCB with Yastial bowling those deliveries that he bowled towards the end, where yes, I thought a few boundaries should have been hit in the first half of that over, where MS Dhoni being dismissed in that fashion, I thought it was a bit lucky. But having said that, a brilliant turnaround completed by RCB to qualify for the playoffs, and if they do go on to win the tournament, which I certainly want them to do, I feel this will be an unassailable turnaround, because 1 off 7, you can't get worse than that after 8 matches to still be in contention and to win every match from there with a Burn attack that's been criticised for not really having the resources to compete. And if you go and win the tournament from then on, that to playing the final in Chennai, where it's not been a happy hunting ground for them considering the blueprints of their current side, a fantastic achievement. From CSK's point of view, I feel strategical errors have let them down this season, and that's why 7 they were still in contention to qualify despite that, but a few strategic errors too many in this match was what cost them. On MS Dhoni, I don't know whether I don't think anyone knows apart from himself whether he'll be back next season or not, but if this would be his last season, I think we've just got to say thank you for what he's done. It's a very poignant moment, and I couldn't quite sink in. I still can't sink in that this may be the last time that we see him bat, and even the last time we see him keep in the first innings as well as we did. But I can only say thank you for what he's done for this franchise, what he's done for Indian cricket as well. And it's a very poignant moment. He's been the face of the franchise. I feel a lot of the times, especially in recent years, when the team has been written off looking at the squad on paper going to the season, and the way MS Dhoni has marshaled his troops and the way he makes plays better is the reason why this team has got success. So a huge thank you to MS Dhoni. We don't know what will happen in the future. Anything can happen, but a huge thank you to MS Dhoni for what he's done for this franchise. And let's see what the future holds. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and please share it with your friends. Remember, this is my opinion. What's